It was quite impressive to see that in a handful of weeks we made such dramatic progress on an issue that, as you all know, has been one that has been plaguing the region for decades. Of course, as I said in my remarks and in my speech, the work begins now. We have signed an agreement. We have committed to high objectives, of course, to lofty goals, if you want to put it that way. But the true test will be, of course, when the rubber hits the road and when we have to start implementing this agreement and making sure that we honor our respective commitments. The agreement enters into force upon its signature. So I think it's very important when we say that the work has now begun, it truly has begun now. So we are not looking at an agreement that is due to be implemented or enter into force in an unforeseeable time. The obligations start at the moment where the signatures have been made on the document. So again, as I said, the accord or the agreement enters into force upon its signature, and there are mechanisms put in place and foreseen by this agreement precisely to make sure that action follows the words that are that have been pronounced. Qatar played a pivotal role when we had hit a deadlock. We had reached a point where we had a series of, at times difficult, but yet still fruitful meetings in the context of the Rwanda process. We had reached a point where we were very close to the signing of an agreement and then a rupture of those talks, followed by a dramatic, but very dramatic and timely condensed deterioration of the security situation, of the humanitarian situation, in particular in North Kivu and South Kivu provinces. So a very, in a very short time, a situation that completely changed and that actually led, if you want, to a deadlock and an incapacity, unfortunately, of many stakeholders who had tried to bring the two leaders together to actually, trigger or reignite the dialogue. So this is where Qatar played a very important role of making sure that a platform conducive to a renewed engagement at the highest level was created, and they used their access and their channels to both heads of states to make that happen. So of course the question, and it's totally legitimate from a Congolese point of view to ask the question, what will happen if the agreement is violated by Rwanda? But again, it's a binding agreement for all stakeholders, including for the DRC. So we will all be held to the same standards, and I think it's very important, and this was also one of my key messages to President Donald J. Trump today at the White House. It was, first of all, thank you and congratulations for making this happen, but second of all, please remain committed, because it is precisely this political traction that is necessary to hold us all accountable. So this may be one of the differences that we have in this agreement, a country that has decided to put the full weight of its diplomatic apparatus to make sure that the agreement yields something tangible.
Signature, y a-t-il un calendrier précis pour la mise en œuvre?
When you go through months, years of tensions, of conflicts, even at the diplomatic level, you reach sometimes a level where there is a rupture of trust. And I think this is where agreements are precisely very important, because they lay the foundation for a gradual reestablishing of trust through certain gestures. And I think this is where we need to focus on right now. It would be misguided from us to focus on the distrust that has characterized our relationships for a very long time. I think it's much more important to focus on the opportunity that this agreement provides. An agreement that establishes clear responsibilities, but also has a backup plan through mechanisms that supervise its implementation. So